The ocean has been the biggest part of my life, for sure. I mean, surfing initially, a lot of diving, and then it was just a natural progression to get into fishing. I mean, fishing was a means of fun, and then it became a lifestyle to make money.
Actually, Walter, he was someone I grew up with, looking up to out at Super Tubes. He was one of the main locals in the lineup, and he was a very good surfer out at Supers, and yeah, I had a lot of respect for him, and sort of grew up throughout my youth just watching him surf, and he used to take me surfing, and yeah, basically through that I got to know Ashley.
Did a lot of surfing first, and then sort of fishing just for fun. We were young, 18, 19. It was good. Allowed us to eat, drink beer, do whatever we wanted to do. It was fun. And then somewhere down the line, I just started doing it more and more and more and more. Just kept surfing in between. We always got good waves and loved the place. And grew up in this area, and we just used to chase waves, and then the fishing was a means of just surviving. And then it got bigger, the business. I got into going out in the Crom River. There were boats going out there. Jumped on those boats. There were longer trips, staying at sea a bit longer. And then it ended up becoming a massive industry with big freezer boats.
So there was like a black gold rush, they called it, back in the sort of mid-80s. When everything that floated came and tried to catch squid off Jeffreys Bay.
The lifestyle became more like 3 weeks on, 1 week off, 3 weeks on, 1 week off, which was great. I'd make money, I'd come home, I'd surf for a week, go to sea. And then we'd have long periods where it'd be bad weather, and obviously it was brilliant for us, because when the bad weather was there, I'd be at home and I'd have great waves. And then now it's grown to the industries. We have not a full-time all-year thing. We get 6 months a year, 5-6 months a year off, 4-5 months. And that allows me to travel and surf, as well as fish when I'm here. So yeah, it's been a brilliant journey, and I really enjoyed it.
You look at a lot of our top skippers and that here, and a lot of the top operators that came down here, they come from a background of, they were either fishing commercially, line fishing on the Natal coast. A lot of the surfers come into this industry as skippers, etc., because they can read the conditions in the oceans, and they're kind of in tune with the conditions and the weather, and they have an affinity to the ocean. It's what they do, it's what they know, and although it's a tough life, a lot of them have adapted to being skippers on boats, etc., etc.
Myself and Ash, we went for a surf, and Ash invited me onto his chocker boat. So yeah, the next morning we headed out super early. The NSRI was kind enough to give us a lift out to his vessel. We jumped on board. It was quite a shock to see this giant vessel just sitting out in the bay. Usually you see it far out to sea. We hopped on, and yeah, once we got into it, we went up to Ashley's cabin. Ash told us all about his instruments and how he used the fish finder to, find the chocker, and yeah, he showed us all the ropes and how it could be done. And we found a patch of chocker, and we anchored the boat on the chocker, and he honked his horn on his boat, and all the crew came out from under the deck, and yeah, we started chocker fishing, and he got his line out, and he showed me how to obviously drop the line down with the chocker lures and reel it up once you feel like a little bit of a tug by the chocker. So yeah, it was very interesting, and it's definitely a technique that takes time to acquire. But yeah, once you got it, it was really cool.
The fishing industry it definitely affects this town. I mean, it looks after a lot of communities, broad-based, from the owners to the skippers to the crew.
It's a huge industry. It's a R500 million a year fishery, of which I'm saying 150 to 200 million rands worth of wages gets pumped into the greater Kruger area.
It's the backbone as far as I'm concerned. Without it, Jeffreys Bay wouldn't be Jeffreys Bay.
Once the holiday makers are out of town and, you know, the JBay Open's finished and all the surfing contests have gone and left, the chocker fishing industry is sort of what keeps JBay alive. So today I'm here with Johan Porti-Porgita, and yeah, we're about to go hit some trails. I'm rather nervous because he's a lot more experienced rider than what I am.
I've been riding for around 17 years now. I ride professionally, 4-time South African champion, and I just love shredding bikes. What I love about riding is just how free it makes you feel. You can get away from traffic in the city and everything, and you can just go into the woods, into the mountains, and you can just be free, your own time, your own thoughts, and just hit some trails. You know, a lot of people get caught up in their everyday lives, going to the office, going back home, etc., etc., and yeah, you can just come and live your adventure. I mean, I myself, I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie, so I like going fast, you know, doing the odd daring thing here and there, and that's what I love about mountain biking.
So some mornings you wake up in Jeffreys Bay and you're absolutely frothing to go for a surf. And we got down to the beach today, myself and Potty, and yeah, the waves just looked below par and average, so yeah, we decided to pack up the bikes and jump in the car and head down the road and hit some trails.
Yeah, the Eastern Cape, Jeffreys Bay and surroundings, you know, it's such a diverse place to do sports, adventure sports.
It's surrounded by beautiful mountains, terrain and natural beauty, you know, perfect for lending to an active lifestyle.
Yeah, the trails here in George is just amazing. You've got such a variety of different trails, jumps, rock gardens, and it's one of the few places in South Africa to still have really natural, sort of untouched trails. And yeah, it's just so much fun. You got trees, you got open spaces, you could ride for a week and not ride the same trail. When I was younger, I was always looking up to these extreme sports guys, you know, and you just want to be like that when you grow up. And you obviously realize there's more to it than just the rock star side of it. There's traveling, there's getting injured, there's being away from home for a long time. And I think it's really important to stay grounded. You know, it doesn't matter how good you get in these sports, whether it be surfing, whether it be mountain biking, it can humble you pretty quickly. The Eastern Cape, Jeffreys Bay and surroundings, you know, it's such a diverse place to do sports, adventure sports. I mean, you got one of the best waves in the world, and then down the road you got world-class trails to ride at. And it's just, if you want to live your sporting dream, I guess it doesn't get much better than this.
Surfing when you're sitting out there on your own, you know, and you haven't had a wave, and you're sitting out there and you look down below and the water's nice and clean, and you see a few fish there, you know, and you get so stoked about that. And it's like it's being out there on your own, you know, and it's up to you you just feel that it's so good out there. And then when a wave comes up and you catch it, and all the youngsters shouting, "Aye, cool, Heinzie, that's a good one," and they're all whistling, you know, and things like that, you know. That gives you a lot of pleasure. But coaching gives me more pleasure, because it's just something that now I'm trying to pass off some of my knowledge that I have of developing somebody else into being a better surfer, and most likely becoming a South African champion and things like that. That's the pleasure that I get out of it.
kids in JBay, they're so privileged to grow up here, you know, like we were discussing the other day, says that compared to Cape Town or Durban or anything, it's relatively safe still. You don't need to take your bag to the beach and worry about your bag. And I mean, the waves are all in walking distance. So 90% of the kids, they just walk everywhere. They go surfing and that's it, you know. It's just, I mean, compared to Cape Town or Durban, where the cities and where the mums are going to take off work to take you to the beach and make sure you're okay and everything. So they're really privileged, you know. And plus, well, all the breaks are close together. It's really a blessing for them, you know.
Growing up in surfing, I think, you know, Jeffreys Bay sort of made me who I am today. Just being by the coast and being by such a good wave, you know, it was inevitable that I was gonna, you know, become a surfer, and I think that sort of lent quite a bit to the person that I am today. Is just having such a good wave like right on your doorstep and running down and going for a surf every day. I think that sort of aided in the fact to become sort of the surfer beach boy that I am today.
Yeah, the kids, they nuts, man. They live, eat, breathe surfing. The parents, especially the township kids, the mothers come in and they tell us that how stoked they are that the kids are surfing, because the kids go to school, then they surf, and they surf 4 or 5 hours, and they finish in the evenings, you know. Then there's no time to run around in the streets and things, and that's what the parents are very, very happy about. They obsessed with surfing. It's, you know, that's their life.
The ocean has taught me many things in life, and I think one of the biggest things that the ocean has taught me is just to respect Mother Nature and, you know, never take it as sort of I'm in control, you know, because as soon as you feel like, you know, you're better than the ocean will always teach you a lesson. And it's something that's always humbled me in a sense. You know, if you get too ahead of yourself, it'll always bring you back. You know, if you say, oh, I want to go charge that wave and try to get the biggest barrel and, you know, go deeper than anyone else, it'll always sort of put you back in line and teach you that, you know, Mother Nature always has control over you.
I can remember my first time coming to JBay absolutely vividly, like it happened yesterday. We were driving to Cape Town on the way to the SA Champs, my first SA Champs in 1968. And my dad had a Jeep Wagoneer, this green Wagoneer. We had all these boards on top, and we drove all the way down here. And we got here in the evening. We stayed at the Beach Hotel. We woke up early that morning, the next morning, and we drove down to the point. There was like a little campground on the point. And we drove down to the point. There was no one there, no one in the campground, just us. We drove through, and we stopped. We ran through the campground and we jumped out, and we looked at the surf, and it was perfection. 4 to 6 feet, flawless, the best waves that any of us had ever seen. And we looked at this and went, wow, this is unbelievable. We got our boards, we ran across the rocks, and we went out there and we surfed for 3 hours, just the two of us as the sun rose up, boiled up through the Indian Ocean.
So not even 70 years ago, Jeffreys Bay was just a small fishing village. And as the word spread that there was this incredible wave in Jeffreys Bay, surfers slowly started to inhabit and come to Jeffreys Bay, and yeah, basically from then the town sort of grew and grew and grew, and it is what it is today as this iconic surfing town with one of the best waves in the world.
Even though the wave here is about maybe 1.5 k's when it's really good, from Boneyards all the way to Point, so it's like a narrow area, small area. The impact of this area is felt in every home in this town.
JBay has always been this small, closely knit town, and you know, when I was growing up here, there was no malls, there was, you know, a lot less townhouses, and basically over the years there's been an extreme growth and development in the town. I think Jeffreys Bay was one of the fastest growing towns in South Africa. It's sort of starting to become like, I wouldn't say a little city, but it's starting to become a lot more inhabited than it was before, and a lot more people are attracted to JBay, and I would say a lot more people have sort of, you know, moved to JBay to live here, whereas before it was more just like a holiday town where, you know, you come down and watch the JBay Open or come on holiday. So that's sort of slowly changing and becoming more of like a place to actually live and work and raise a family. So. Ever since, you know, I've grown up surfing in Jeffreys Bay, there's always been that sense of local camaraderie and, you know, good manners in the lineup. You know, over the past years it has been rapidly growing and sort of started to lose its small town essence. And I find the sort of the surfing culture and the fishing industry, which has become a lot more commercialized, has sort of kept the town's close-knit, small town feel together.
Whether you surf or whether you don't surf, the impact is profound. And back in the day when we used to come here, surfers weren't accorded that much respect, you know, drugs, long hair, layabouts, don't want to work, just want to go surf. And yeah, we just wanted to go surfing. But surf has built this place. And many people in this town realize it. Some people don't. They think what they do is not connected with surf. Every single person in this town, no matter what they do, are ultimately drawing their income from surf. And it shows this amazing power of surf.
Wake up, crank up, smash the gas just like before. Left and right, turn up and up to the arrows. Right to
January 28, 1986. Space Shuttle Challenger explodes 73 seconds after takeoff from Cape Canaveral, Florida. All 7 crew members on board the Challenger, among them schoolteacher Krista McAuliffe, are killed.
Space Shuttle Challenger.
President Ronald Reagan tells a shocked and grieving nation,
"We will never forget them, nor the last time we saw them this morning, as they prepared for their journey and waved goodbye, and slipped the surly bonds of earth to touch the face of God."
1596. Sir Francis Drake, the mariner who became the first Englishman to circumnavigate the globe, dies off the coast of Panama. 1853. Jose Marti, the Cuban revolutionary who fought for his country's independence from Spain, is born in Havana. And in 1959.
I want to say this, that it's a great game. It's a game of great lessons.
Vince Lombardi is named head coach of the Green Bay Packers. In the following decade, he leads the Packers to victory in the first 2 Super Bowls. Today in history, January 28th. Sandy Kozel, The Associated Press.